Welcome to Indy Unplugged, the podcast that's your front row seat to the real talk of Indianola. I'm Aaron Young, your friendly neighborhood host, and we're diving deep into unfiltered stories, candid chats, and the nitty-gritty of our vibrant city. Think of this as a crash course in all things Indianola. No fancy jargon, just real conversations. So, get comfy, hit that play button, and let's explore the heart and soul of our community together on Indy Unplugged. All right, welcome back to another episode of Indy Unplugged, a City of Indianola podcast. And, Mayor Richardson has been hogging the mic for quite some time now. I think he's been on a stretch of maybe 4 or 5 straight episodes, so we're switching it up. It's actually a great opportunity because if you've been following the local headlines, the Warren County Leadership Institute recently had their graduation ceremony in late April, and one of those graduates was our very own council member, Mellisa Sones, who's joining us today for this episode. Councilmember Sones, how are you doing today? Thanks so much for hopping on.
I'm doing well, thank you, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
It was really cool to obviously follow the journey of your experience from afar with the Warren County Leadership Institute. Just in your own words, what is that program?
For me, and I guess the program in my perspective is an opportunity to, as leaders in the community, come together, learn more about Warren County, learn more about one another, network, and learn more about ourselves too, and how we can collectively, because we're now networked, strengthen our community and county.
And there were about, including yourself, 21 individuals that
Yes.
were part of this year's class?
21, biggest class to ever go through.
Wow.
Which is fantastic. I think the word just keeps spreading, and we've been challenged to pass that on. So we'll see if we can continue to grow the program.
There's always a project, right?
Yes.
What was your guys' project?
Yeah, so the project that we landed on, everyone is responsible for coming in with a project idea, and then we decide which one moves forward. And so for us, it was putting a little library in every community in Warren County, spreading literacy. And so we placed 14 little libraries. And just an opportunity for families to connect through books.
Very cool. So what inspired you to enroll or to apply to be part of the Warren County Leadership Institute?
Yeah, it really was, the opportunity to network throughout the county and learn more about things outside of Indianola. I grew up in Indianola. I, of course, knew Norwalk and Carlisle and little bits and pieces about them, but throughout this journey, we learned about all the communities in Warren County and the businesses that exist within them, and that's really why I did it. And as well as the networking opportunity. As you meet the people who attend the class, but also the speakers that come in. I can't say enough good things about it. Just as you stumble on challenges in your day-to-day life now, you have that kind of Rolodex of more contacts to reach out to.
Was that kind of the moment for you that you appreciated the most of those networking opportunities, or what was kind of that key moment that you really, if you had to pick one, what was the one that you enjoyed the most?
Yeah, it was that, and also learning about myself, where my strengths are and where my opportunities are as a leader, and how I can use those in the capacity that I am now serving the community.
And then on the flip side, were there any challenges that you experienced?
Oh, sure. We as a group, you have 21 people, and we're coming together, a lot of us not knowing a lot about each other. So we had to learn how to work together, figure out our roles and responsibilities, how we planned this project, and we only had 8 sessions to do so. And a lot of times we only had 30 minutes at the end of class. So it's kind of like cram time, get this in, and who's doing what, and figuring out how to best work together, how to communicate in this room. And we figured out real quick that we had to rearrange the room in order to talk, just to make conversation flow. And it's just figuring those things out, and figuring out who the leaders are in the group, who's going to speak first, who's going to facilitate conversation. But it's a challenge to figure that out very quickly.
Yeah, it makes it sound like the way you explain it and the way I'm kind of picturing it in my head is kind of like, my high school days. You might be cramming before a test or cramming with a group project, and you're saying, hey, are you going to be the leader and I'm going to be the designer? And you're trying to figure out those roles and responsibilities. Was it kind of like that? Or how do you kind of cram all of that in 8 weeks and for the project 30 minutes after every class?
Well, in our case, we just had people emerge, and it just happened naturally. Of course, you have a lot of leaders who want to take charge, and so sometimes it was kind of a trying not to talk over one another because too many people wanted to take charge. So it was how we try to work together most effectively and let everyone's ideas be heard. But again, we figured that stuff out really quickly because we had such limited time.
Yeah.
But we did a really good job, I think, because again, we were on such a fast pace, and we all wanted to see this project get done within our class. We wanted to see it to completion by graduation.
Yeah.
Now, we still do have some boxes to place because we didn't get the locates done in time. But I think we did amazing to get the boxes placed that we did by graduation.
Well, the great thing is you guys built those relationships with each other, and having those emerging leaders. I can imagine it can get very noisy between 21 leaders across the county, but it's probably no different, or there's probably a lot of similarities, I should say, to your civic duties being our council member. So you have 21 folks in a room, but you're the kind of that leading voice for the hundreds, if not thousands, that you represent for your Ward 1. So kind of my question, I'm shifting gears here, is was there anything that surprised you, or anything that you were able to take away from the Institute as it pertains to leadership?
One of the biggest surprises for me personally, was how much they kind of did a trait analyze. You do all your traits and personality type analysis, and how much that influences everything you do. And it was, you kind of forget about those things if you don't do them on a regular basis. And it had been a long time since I did that. And to see that kind of come back and see how much that really did influence not only me, but we got to see the whole class. They gave us everyone's results. And so to see what everyone else's were and see how they conducted things, I would go home after class and kind of try to figure people out. And it was kind of fun, but surprising how much that tends to play into how we conduct ourselves as a leader.
Yeah, those personality tests, I've taken a few during my time in the professional and personal sense. I actually took one recently, just a few months ago, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the term for the identifier for me, I can't remember the exact name of the test I took, but the results, they always come back spot on, which is sometimes crazy because those surveys could take like less than 5 minutes and you're like, whoa, my whole life. But I'm pretty sure the one I took recently, it called me an adapter. So I was kind of like even keeled in all the 4 quadrants that this survey, this test had. And then it had an icon. It had an icon of a chameleon. And I'm like, ooh, that feels kind of like, when I read the description too with the chameleon, I'm like, oh, I feel kind of slimy, but then it kind of made more sense as I talked myself through it. But it's crazy how spot on those surveys are, and especially in the sense of leadership, because then you learn more things about yourself to then ultimately, in essence, help the others that you represent. And so, yeah, no, it's really cool and it's, for me, it's been fun to watch the journey just from what's been posted on social media and just seeing kind of the stage of all the different, I think, wasn't a bus tour that you guys went through on a Saturday?
Yes.
So would you go,
bus tour?
you would go all throughout Warren County and visit like those businesses that you described earlier?
We did. We visited several businesses. We toured Seaman Tech and got a presentation from them. Amazing things happen right here in Indianola. They're making trucks that are going out into the military and globally, and the millions and millions of dollars that are being made right here in Indianola over in our old industrial park.
Yeah.
In this small factory, right? I mean, it blows your mind that just incredible things are happening right here. That's where our tour started. And then we got on the bus and we went to Carlisle and stopped at a coffee shop over there that was an old bank, and they rehabbed it into this adorable little coffee shop. And she's doing so well that she's now going to take on another project of rehabbing a dilapidated building into a more of a restaurant type business. And so we learned the economic development side of things there, and everyone got their caffeine and kind of got going for the day. And, we moved about Warren County, but in the process, we learned things, as we passed by them, such as we had the first certified site in the state of Iowa right there in Carlisle, which was amazing. We heard about it, and then all of a sudden it shows up on the news, and you hear the magnitude of what the certified site is and the opportunities that opens. Of course, we moved on, and, all the while we're having great discussions on the bus, and everyone's pointing out things as we go by. And it's hard for me to put into words in just this little amount of time that we have, just the great businesses that we have here in Warren County that you don't know about unless you get out there and explore and hear about their story. I mean, over in Enroll, for example, we have a furniture maker that's 3 employees, but they ship furniture all over the world. Amazing. And the quality of their furniture is, I would love to have a piece of furniture in my house, but I couldn't afford it.
It's just, it's remarkable, that innovation and the opportunities you described earlier in Warren County, they're endless. And to your point too, you don't know until you get out of, whether it be your shell or just to have a listening ear to spark up a conversation and learn about those type of things that are happening right here within our county. Right. So from this experience, like, what would you say to someone who is considering applying to be part of the Warren County Leadership Institute?
I would say, well, first of all, do it. And if you have any reservations or if there's something holding you back, reach out to one of the graduates or someone on the board and talk through whatever hurdle you think you might have, and let's figure out a way to get you in there. The possibilities are endless, and if it's the money's an issue, there are scholarship opportunities, and whatever else might be your issue, let's figure it out.
Was there anything ever since that graduation, or even kind of throughout the 8 weeks with the course, any skills or knowledge that you were able to gain that you were able to kind of, maybe not necessarily immediately, but just organically start applying to both your, whether it be your personal life or then also just your civic life as a council member?
throughout the course, my leadership has kind of developed. I was a leader in my career, of course. I've become more vocal because this course challenged me to, and it reminded me of the skills that I had. And it reminded me that you've got to get outside of your comfort zone and push those things, because if you want things to get done, you need to get out there and do them. I have two takeaways that for me kind of woke me up, and that was that we all have something to offer, and if we don't offer it to the world, we're going to miss out. And really our community's missing out too, because we're not offering that back. And I've been one that's really been a proponent of giving back to my community, and this class really just ignited that again, in me. Another thing was, one of the speakers said that fear is a necessary precursor to courage, and that rung so true for me. Like, sometimes it gets a little uncomfortable to say the hard things, but if you don't say the hard things and get the conversation going, you're not going to get to where you need to go. And so that's being the leaders that you need to be. And that for me was one of the things that I needed to hear, was like, step out there and get it done.
Yeah. And just as a community, you talk about one individual, but when you put yourself out there, you're going to be embraced by dozens, hundreds, thousands of others who share that same passion, who want to do good, whatever the purpose is. And you're definitely not on your own island. So I could totally see from this class, and just from the projects that you've done, and of course you take back from experiences before class and now, after, and how you move forward, you have those relationships, because those relationships are just so vital as we move forward, whether it be as Indianola, as our community, as Norwalk and their community, Carlisle and their community, everyone within the county, because we're all better together.
Absolutely. It's not like before class and after class. I just added to all of my contacts and experiences, and so I can't stress enough that if you get the opportunity to take this class, take it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share before we hop off, whether it be about the class, any other city business? We've got a lot of exciting things that are on the cusp. So I want to open up the floor for you.
Yeah. To my point about giving back to my community, I just want to put a plug in there that if you are one who wants to give back to your community, we do have a number of opportunities opening on our boards and commissions. And so read the mayor's report. I noticed that he put those in his report, which I was glad to see. We have a number of openings that we need to get filled. There are so many opportunities right now to get involved, and start wherever your heart leads you. That's perfect. Yeah, check out all the information. You can find all that on the City of Indianola website at www.indianolaiowa.gov. And we'll also put a plug in for the Warren County Leadership Institute. We'll put a link in the bio of the podcast and in the description of wherever you listen to your podcast. And I just want to thank you again, Councilmember Stones, for joining us for this episode of Indy Unplugged. It wasn't so bad, right? You said this was your first podcast, and we're just having a conversation. We're going to have you on one of our future episodes, so get used to it. Get comfy. Okay. It's gonna be a good time. But no, we appreciate thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you having on with us today. And listeners, just make sure that you leave us a review, leave us some comments, and let us know that each and every episode that we're putting out of Indy Unplugged, it's hitting the mark. We're on, I believe, episode 15, so we're probably nearing the end of our first season here and gearing up for season number 2, where we might incorporate some video. Right now, you're just getting us in the audio form, but you know me, I love incorporating video into our communication strategies, so we'll get those things in motion for season 2, and who knows, maybe next time you'll be a future guest of Indy Unplugged.